you know what? This has got to be a segment. This has got to be a segment. I need to talk about a very, very interesting, but also very, very problematic for creators style of sponsorship. Now, I'm never going to get angry at any person for taking a particular sponsorship. Hell, I've taken sponsorships multiple times. I've taken a sponsorship from Raid Shadow Legends before. About 3 separate times in my life. The first time I had to spend like 3 months getting them to actually pay me out, and the other times the pay was kind of a pittance. And I need to go ahead and show people a trap real quick. And this is I don't know who necessarily to blame for this, but I believe that it would be Raid Shadow Legends. Let's go ahead and talk about a very, very misleading thing. Very, very misleading. We're gonna do fan art for the next episode. This one's very impromptu, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just pop this up here. So when you are a creator on Stream Elements, when you're a creator on Twitch, YouTube, Stream Elements will offer you certain amounts of money for you to shill companies. Now, in an ideal world, it would be we pay for an advertising spot, and that's it. That's the ideal, right? The reason that's the ideal, that's how it's worked on TV for years, functionally. You pay for certain spots based on how many ratings a certain show has, based on how many viewers are clued into the TV on the channel at that time. That's what you pay for in the TV world. For some reason, though, we have this multi-level marketing style thing as well. But it's very, very... it's very, very deceptive. So I've not said the number on screen, so if you're an audio-only person, I apologize for that. But for everybody who is not an audio-only person, let's talk about this number right here. And this is the reason why before I take certain sponsorships, I actually like talk with my chat about it first, because I feel like everybody in chat knows why a creator takes a sponsorship. Very few creators, unless they are in a very privileged position, take sponsorships because they like the companies that they are sponsored by. There are a few exceptions. I like DDLG Playground, and I am sponsored by them. And I don't have an issue with Wraith Energy at all, and they've been a sponsor of the channel for a couple years now. Anubian says, MLMs, you mean pyramid schemes? No, I mean multi-level marketing. They are the same word. They are the same thing, yes. They are the same thing. But advertising... Hi, Nova. Thank you very much for the resubscription. So when you are taking one of your sponsorships, a thing to remember is every person on the YouTube and Twitch platforms gets paid by ads. Not all of us like that we get paid by ads. I'm certainly not a fan of the way Twitch decided to do their ad rollout. I think their ad rollout has negatively affected the viewing experience for everyone involved. And the YouTube ad rollouts have actually been fairly predatory, I've noticed, for a lot of people, where people who enjoy gaming start getting a bunch of ads for mobile games that, outside of the fact that creators end up having to take those sponsorships to, you know, eat, they're also seeing those ads, and then like PragerU puts their ads on YouTube as well, a ton of them, and then people end up falling for their bullshit propaganda. Just to put it simply, the advertising markets that capitalism forces us to utilize as creators really, really suck. But there are certain versions of it that suck more than others. Next Burrito says, hope that Genshin sponsorship you mentioned a while back wasn't as sketch as this. It was the exact same thing. The difference is Genshin is a actual functional video game and not just a Skinner box. That's the difference there. Raid Shadow Legends is a Skinner box in every way, shape, and form. And I haven't hit start now on this or anything because I recognize that I would be under a contractual obligation not to shit talk the company for the amount of time that I hit that start now button till the time it's over. Axel says, what's a Skinner box? So a Skinner box is it's not really a game. A Skinner box is the idea that a certain number of inputs will lead to a certain number of outputs, and the inputs required to get those outputs increase over time. To make that less esoteric, the Skinner box experiment was done, I believe, with pigeons. So a pigeon would be put into a box. This is the Skinner box. That pigeon in this box sees a button, and it hits the button and a seed comes out. It gets to eat the seed, and then they go, oh, okay, cool. When I press the button, I get a seed, and that's food for me. That's amazing. And then they see another button. That button has water, so they hit that button, a little water comes out, they take a drink, all's good. Well, after a few days, the situation has changed for the pigeon, because the second time it wants a seed and it wants water, it's going to take 2 pecks to get it. And then it's going to take 3 pecks. Eventually, after a few days, because to live in this Skinner box, the bird needs food and water, it's going to take 60, 70, 80, 90 pecks in order to get the same amount of seed, to get the same amount of water as before. Fenekagami, thank you for resubscribing. I appreciate it. The experiment basically showed that if you put somebody in an environment where they either feel like they are trapped or they are addicted to it, so you're trapped mentally instead of trapped physically, people will, any animal, and people are animals, will keep trying to get that dopamine hit of food, water, whatever you put in that Skinner box. So if we change this instead to a video game, you get level 2 when you level up. And then it takes a little more experience to get level 3, and a little more experience to get level 4, and a little more to hit level 5. Now, this on its own is not an issue, because experience systems in games generally look like that. Generally speaking, it's going to take longer at higher levels to get the same amount of experience, or you have to do something else. Games like Paper Mario don't have that system. They instead make enemies worth less experience if they are lower tier enemies. The same idea, it is harder to gain experience at higher levels. However, if the only thing that exists in your game is getting the levels, getting the higher numbers, that's it. Top, bottom, nothing else. It is just getting that. There is no overarching story that has a conclusion for the player. There is no actual gameplay besides getting these numbers. Even if it does have some decent gameplay, if that gameplay is just for the purpose of getting these numbers up and getting these slower incrementing experience gains, that is a Skinner box. Now, every Skinner box game on the planet, for the most part, has things like, hey, would you like to pay to get 20% faster leveling? Would you like to pay to get some energy so you can keep playing the game? It has these little systems in place that would have seemed completely asinine years ago, right? Like 20 years ago, if you even mentioned putting something like that in a video game, people would have fucking rioted. Imagine World of Warcraft when it first came out in 2004. Imagine if they were like, hey, welcome to the World of Warcraft. Get level 60 if you pay $60. Yeah, there'd be people who got it, but it would be fucked up. But it's more normalized now because of the, wow, I can't speak. I'm stuttering. It's more normalized now because we've had a frog boiling in the water scenario with microtransactions. Games like League of Legends existed as microtransaction-only games, and this was seen as completely fair and reasonable. The mobile gaming market ended up introducing microtransactions for energy specifically so that you could play their mobile games more. Like, the energy system being a thing in older mobile games is just downright predatory. Energy system being one that says, hey, you can only play the game for so long, and then you have to wait until tomorrow to play more. That's also a system that's meant to keep you addicted to a game. So if I boot up a standard game right now, if I boot up a single-player adventure game, I sit down for 10 to 20 hours, and then I'm done. The game is concluded. I've beat the final boss. I've concluded the story. I've married the waifu, whatever the goal of the game is, and then it's done. I can put it down. I can walk away. I can do whatever I want. A Skinner box, uniquely, does not have a put-down moment. It tries to limit your time on the screen to intervals that are just long enough that you, as a player, feel like you got a little bit of progress, and then you put it down and play it again tomorrow. A Skinner box wants you to come back for 30 minutes every day, because if they do that, they can nickel and dime you basically to death. Every day you log in and there will be an advertisement that says, get 20 gems for $5. Great deal. This deal ends in 99 seconds. And it'll do that constantly. So Raid Shadow Legends is one of those kinds of games. I've taken Raid sponsorships, but I also recognize they are one of those kinds of games. And the only reason I'm talking about them right now is this particular thing that's being sent to me is very, very misleading. So I've talked with some people in chat, people who played Raid Shadow Legends for months at a time. Jump Point and Electric Brain being the two of the ones that very graciously gave their knowledge of their time playing Raid to me. So let's talk about what this looks like. So for me, I am currently about $7,000 in debt because of the channel's revenue dropping down. And I've been open and honest with this about my finances to my chat because I feel like that's important. If you guys want to financially support me, I want to literally show you guys the money that I'm making. That's why the money I make on Patreon is public knowledge. That's why the money I make on YouTube, I literally show to people. I'll flip up my Twitch revenue every now and again, even whether or not I'm supposed to. Like, I do those things so that I'm transparent with my revenue. If somebody wants to support me, I want them to know that, hey, this is the amount of money I make. You're not like throwing $5 going, I'm supporting my favorite millionaire. Like, no, I don't want that scenario. And I think that kind of scenario can get kind of gross. So here we are looking at a sponsorship that, in theory, would erase my debts. It would take my credit card debt and take it out of the way. All of the money that me and Saki have had to spend on food and groceries and bills using credit because of the channel revenue going down. This would fix all of that. This would get rid of every single bit of it. And it only wants 50 people to participate. We have 98 people watching right now. Boy, howdy, as a content creator, that sounds like a perfect scenario, right? If just half of the people that are currently watching right now in the first 30 minutes of my stream participate in this 15-day campaign, then all of a sudden, all of those debts are erased. It's so easy. It's amazing. Except it's not. That's all hyperbole. That's all hyperbole. So this says that your max payout is $9,000. We might give you $9,000. Might. But let's look at what it wants you to do to get that $9,000. So for shilling for a Skinner box game, a predatory game where we are having to basically weigh our ethics as content creators, going, hey, is it more important for me to eat right now, or is it more important for me to shill a predatory game to my audience? Which one of these am I gonna go with right now? There are some games where that's a little worth it, like Star Trek Fleet Command I enjoyed. We played that with Stream, and we got to create a clan and, like, take over a star system. Stuff like that's kind of fun. But it says, for every user that hits level 12, it takes about 50 minutes, according to this. Note, it's the only one that it gives a timer for. They'll pay out $500 if all 50 people do it. If everyone does it. That's fair, right? $500, that would be, you know, groceries for a little while. That would be pretty good. Like, that's not a bad amount of money. That's my car payment. Like, okay, cool. That's fine. But that, again, that's going to be the entirety. That's the max. That's the max amount of people it gets in. So what it really wants you to do is it wants you to get your audience addicted to the game. So remember how I said that in a Skinner box, each subsequent level takes a little longer. So if it takes 50 minutes to hit level 12, and that's guaranteed to be like the starting level, like, hey, you finished the tutorial and then you did some shit on your own, now suddenly you're level 12. Like, that's probably what it is, right? So how long do you think it takes to get level 25? Let me know in the comment section if you play Raid and you know. Stygander, think about the follow. I don't know if I said it when it happened, but if I didn't, then here we are. So your audience may be playing for 6, 7, 8 hours, hitting level 25. That'd be my assumption. Right? A few hours every day to get there, energy constraints and all that, depending on how the game is set up for that. and that would get you $1,100. Well, now you've got 1/9 of the max payout. Interesting. Okay, so then it asks for your first 20 blue shards open. Again, notice that we are now in the realm of stuff that we cannot quantify a time zone on. We cannot figure out how long it would take somebody to get this. You may have somebody in your chat, and this is what they want to happen. You might have somebody in your chat who really, really likes the streamer. They really appreciate what the streamer does. They're entertaining. They're their comfort streamer. They will do anything for them, you know, within reason. So that person tries to get these first 20 blue shards. Green shards make uncommon characters. I believe when I did my last thing, I got maybe 5 blue shards the entire time I was doing the sponsorship. So it wants that person to get 20 blue shards. Well, they're in the Skinner box. The entire purpose of the Skinner box from top to bottom is to get you addicted, right? It wants you to log in for an hour or two a day and eventually succumb to paying money into the game itself. The Raid Shadow Legends probably hits you with about 5 advertisements every 3 or 4 minutes, not counting the static ones that stay on the side of the screen. So, okay, it wants you to get your first 20 blue shards, and that will pay out the streamer $750. Now we're at about a little less than a fifth of the total payout, if every single one of those person via a randomized gacha mechanic gets 20 blue shards. We're at the point now where no amount of time is going to guarantee you get those blue shards, because that's how gacha systems work. They do tend to have pity systems that will eventually give you the bare minimum of things, but even those are meant to be addictive. So, like, if I go to my card shop and I buy some booster packs are the same thing, but there's no pity system with booster packs unless I'm buying, like, a booster box. There's no pity system with booster packs. I could buy 20 booster packs across multiple sets and end up with only a handful of 50-cent cards. Nothing that I get is guaranteed to be an expensive, good pull. If you buy a box, it's a little bit more guaranteed because there's certain ratios of cards in each of those boxes, but I digress. In terms of an individual pack-by-pack basis, there is no pity system, which means eventually you may realize, oh, this isn't worth it to me. But with a pity system, things are a bit different. People celebrate the pity systems in gacha games, but the pity system's not actually there to be a good favored thing for you. If you are running a gacha game, you have the ability to tweak the amount of things people get off of the gacha system. You can set it to where, hey, 10% of the time this guy gets a good thing. Usually, though, gacha systems are set to have, like, 0.01% of the time you get this rare thing, but a pity system will be in place. The way a pity system works is if you do not get a good pull from a gacha game after 10, 20, 30 pulls, then you will be guaranteed to get one of the things you might have been looking for. Genshin Impact does this, where, like, every 20 or 30 pulls, it's 10, 20, or 30, it's one of these numbers, you are guaranteed to get a character when you do that. This puts people very, very deep into the sunk cost fallacy. Now they've spent a certain amount of time or money. As far as the company's concerned, they want it to be both. You spend a certain amount of time or money into the game, and then eventually you will be given something in the pity system. Now, there is a small chance you might have gotten something in the actual game's code normally, like that 0.01% may have happened, but the likelihood of it happening is kind of low. This gets exacerbated by content creators as well, because a lot of times content creators will buy a lot of product, digital or physical, and will cut out a lot of their misses in the product, where they'll spend an just exorbitant amount of money, which they can then deduct on taxes. I know, because I have. They spend an exorbitant amount of money on product, and then they will cut some of the duds out of their pulls so that it looks like they're hitting a lot of really rare cards, and then it incentivizes people to go and buy more of the product, and you see kind of where this is going. So the same thing with a gacha game. Somebody may... there are streamers who dedicate their entire stream to just pulling the gotcha lever. People get addicted to watching it go. People love the dopamine hit when it happens. But the money and time it takes to make these things happen is damn near awful. But we're just at the 20 blue shards thing. And that only gives us a fifth of the money that the sponsorship is willing to give. Well, then the first 2 purple shards open. Why is it only wanting 2? When the last ones want 50 people or 20 blue shards per person, why does this one only want 2 purple shards to be open? Well, there's one of 2 scenarios. Either I think the Raid Shadow Legends pity system is only for like blue shards. I don't think it actually is for higher amounts. Or rather, if it's not that, it's that you have to spend so much time in the game pulling the gotcha lever that the pity system is as bad as what Genshin's pity system is. I'm being told in the chat that it's actually 90 pulls for a character. 90 pulls! Every gotcha pull is a maximum of 10. That is an insane amount of money. So, 2 purple shards gotten. Now, this one's interesting because it's such a low number, but the payout, look at what it's showing a creator. If 50 people in your audience get this, then that's $2,000 for the creator. God, isn't that great? God, wouldn't that pay all of your bills for a few months? Wouldn't that get you out of debt, Suris? Wow, you should definitely take this sponsorship. That would fix all of your problems. And again, only half of your current viewers, less than half now. Only less than half of your viewers would need to get it. Okay, not 80 to 90 gets you a guaranteed 5-star in Genshin. Okay, so again, like I said, those pity systems are set for if there's things like this. Guess what? If you wanted to support your favorite content creator, you could have just dropped $40 on them in subs, bits, or what have you. That's not me saying, you know, drop $40 on me right now. Look at me, I'm not taking the sponsorship. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, what the company wants to happen is money that you may have allocated for the entertainment for your streamer, they want you to spend on the game. The game that's not actually going to give you anything but a handful of dopamine rushes because it's just a gotcha mechanic. It's just a game built on random chance, and it's a lottery system. It's gambling. Now, what does it want for them to give you $2,500? Well, Dark Excalibur, thank you for the 10 subs. I didn't say to do that. You didn't need to hand me $40. Jesus Christ. I appreciate it, but that wasn't a signal to do that. God damn. Dark Excalibur says, you can't tell me what to do. You're right, I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you what to do. I can say thank you, but I can't tell you what to do. Now, then we get to this next one. First 2 gold shards open. Gold shards. And they're willing to pay you $2,500 for this. If you ignored everything else in here and you just showed somebody this, God, can you think of how many streamers are salivating out of that? Actually, you know what? I can tell you how many streamers are salivating out of that. So, I can tell you, as of right now on my Twitch, I have 353 subscribers. Now, I make about $2.50 for every subscription, so that's about $800 a month. That's not enough to live off of. That's not enough to live off of for most people. That doesn't even get near paying all of my bills. But I want you to see something. I want you to see something. So if we go to a Twitch tracker and we see how well I am performing, what where do you think I sit in terms of the top percentile of Twitch? Just as a guess. Just as a guess. At my size, with as small as my channel is, do you think I'm, what, top 20%? Top 30%? Those would all be reasonable guesses. They really would be. Boy, howdy. If I told you that I am at the top 0.01% with 69 current viewers on Twitch, 0.01%. If you are in the top 0.01% of Twitch, you make $800 a month. The top 0.1% of people on this platform make starvation wages. Isn't that cool? Isn't that really neat? Doesn't that make Twitch look like a sustainable career? Something that Amazon desperately needs it to be for all of the streamers on it to be there? You see, every streamer that gets to do this job, GG Smurf, thank you for the follow, and Arctver, thank you for the follow as well. Every streamer that does this job full-time is a billboard for Amazon. They are a billboard for these companies to make more money off of people streaming, because the more people streaming on this website, the more advertisements they can put on more billboards functionally. Every single streamer is a billboard. And as of right now, every single streamer is more of a billboard now than they ever have been, because we used to have more control over the ad breaks on our channels, but every single viewer of my channel has noted to me that ad breaks have gotten infinitely worse in the last few months than they ever were before. They are worse than ever before. So not only does a streamer in supposedly the top 0.01% of Twitch streamers to English audiences make effectively $800 a month off of Twitch, which is not enough to survive, they are then reinforced, Wishing Wells, thank you for the follow, they are then reinforced by this system right here, going, well, streamer who wants to do this full-time, who's in the top 0.01%, there's not really that much farther to go up. There's only a handful of people that can actually do this full-time on Twitch alone. So, streamer, don't you need $9,000? Don't you want $9,000? Wouldn't that fix so many of your problems right now? Gosh and golly gee, it would, wouldn't it? But, you know, what's the likelihood of you actually getting this amount? Remember, I'm in the top percentile of Twitch, apparently. And this is the number that I'm offered here. Think about how much lower that number is going to be, because this is based on the size of your channel. Think about how much lower that offer is going to be for every person who is a smaller creator than me. In fact, actually, if you are a streamer, why not let me know? Because you probably have a Raid Shadow Legends streaming agreement that you might be able to click yes on. Let me know what the start now for yours says. I can tell you I've had friends where they have gotten Raid Shadow Legends sponsorships that look identical to this, but they've asked, they basically said, hey, you can get $600 from us, $700 for us, $800 from us. And sometimes that's what they offer. But now we're at the gold shards. How hard do you think it is to open gold shards? Silent CDN, thank you for resubscribing. According to people in my chat who have actually played Shadow Legends for quite a long time, they've never gotten gold shards in a lot of their playthroughs off of the basic gacha system. So, in 15 days, if 50 people from your stream are playing constantly, they might not see 2 or even 1 gold shard in their entire time playing. So this number right here is basically a lie. It basically doesn't exist, because you're not going to get it. You're not going to actually get that. Chief Burb says for the max tier, oh boy howdy. That's not the max tier. Oh no, 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 no. For the max tier, they want you to get a second gold arena tier reach. They want you to do, and the arena, I believe, is PvP. I'm not 100% certain. So, well, theoretically, anyway, still trying to get to the funding point. Red Joker says, mine is 9,040 payout. Okay, so your payout is identical to mine? Okay, so that's interesting. So that means that there's a separate thing going on here with Raid. Usually, these sponsorships are handed out, and the amount that they are willing to give is based entirely on the size of your channel. If Red Joker, you at your size are getting the same numbers, then this confirms that nobody is getting these numbers. Nobody is getting this gold arena tier. Nobody is getting these gold shards opened. Unless, of course, they are doing the exact thing that Raid Shadow Legends desperately wants. They want you to spend money on the game, and then maybe that will support the streamer. As evidenced by, they are willing to compensate the streamer if they spend $30 on the game on stream. If the streamer spends $30 to $60 in game only while live streaming, they will be reimbursed $30, which of course incentivizes viewers to spend money on the game as well. After all, if your favorite live streamer, one of the most personal kinds of entertainment you can have, is spending money on the game, then shouldn't you? This is why when I started my Magic the Gathering channel, I literally built the entire ethos on playing with pennies, functionally. Oh, and if you make a clan, they're willing to give you another $50. Do you know why they're willing to do that one? Very, very, Drita says, how many kids watch streamers? A lot. A lot of kids watch streamers. Because the easiest access entertainment for anybody is a PC or their phone. So you'll have kids downloading the game and then probably charging their mom's credit cards to get this shit. Optional, create a clan, fill it up with at least 5 players, and stream 30 minutes of Clan Quest gameplay to unlock this bonus. Again, this is there to use the goodwill of the streamer. Now, do I have an issue with this stuff being here? Not necessarily. As a company, this is what they would have to do to incentivize people to play their game. I understand that. My issue is when they go, look at this amount of money you could be making. Wouldn't this change your life? But the way to get it is to do a whole bunch of stuff that is just never, ever going to happen. So at my size, I can tell you what happens when I take one of these sponsorships. I can tell you what's going to happen. This number says 9,000. Do you know how much I'm going to actually earn? It's going to be about $150. There will be a handful of people from my audience who will play for enough time to get this, fewer people who will play for enough time to get this, and then maybe 1 or 2 people will get this. This is for a variety of reasons. 1, the game's not fucking worth it. You and I both know it's not going to be worth it. 2, Raid Shadow Legends is so ubiquitous that everybody's already heard of it. Nobody's watching a streamer and then going, wow, they're playing Raid and the Shadow of Legends. God, gosh, and golly gee, I've never heard of that. I should also play that video game with my streamer. Every single person on planet Earth at this point has seen a Raid Shadow Legends advertisement if they are on the internet for any amount of time. Now, there's a different kind of sponsorship. How's it going, Oz? There's a different kind of sponsorship which is a little less predatory. And that's the one where they just pay for an amount of space on your channel. The other kind of sponsorship is where a sponsor will reach out to you, or you have somebody reach out on your behalf, or you reach out to a company and they go, hey, we will pay to put our ad on a handful of videos on your channel, and we will pay you a set amount of money. No matter how many people click the ad, we pay you a set amount of money. Because either way, the streamer is doing a certain amount of work, and they are receiving a certain amount of pay for it. This is the same way that the advertising industry works for billboards. This is the same way the advertising industry works for TV spots. And this is the way that ideally advertising should work when it comes to streaming. You have a certain amount of time you are advertising the product, and then once that time is done, you get paid for doing so. This, on the other hand, is basically pay by commission. And anybody who's ever worked sales can tell you how soul-crushing a pay by commission job can be. If a company is renting the space of my channel, then I either want it to be a thing that lasts forever, so that I get an amount from the sponsorship just every now and again, and it's neat, or I want it to be a space that they are paying for, and I just get a set amount of money. That is the ideal. Now, I used to not think that way. I used to think, oh, no, I like these ones because I get paid a lot. But the problem is that if you are a streamer, you get Raid Shadow Legends, Star Trek Fleet Command, Puzzles and Survival, and a couple of other mobile games, and they send you an advertisement thing every single time. HelloFresh will do it as well. Magic Spoon will do it as well. And even though some of those companies I actually like HelloFresh meals. I like Magic Spoon cereal. I think it does a very good job for people who are on keto or low sugar diets. Regardless of whether or not I like those products, we run into an issue. They always only care about new consumers. They only care about new people coming in, not people who fell off and then started paying afterwards again. They're always aimed at getting new consumers. Well, most Twitch streamers do not have new people coming into their audience every single day. And yeah, in regards to Magic Spoon, Dave, you're right. They're at Walmart now. Why get Magic Spoon through a streamer when you can just get it at your local Walmart when you're going to get your groceries anyway? That's where the Magic Spoon I have is from. I had a bunch of boxes from them when they sponsored me, and now I just go get them when I go to the store. Hashtag not sponsored by them currently, because I'm not sponsored by them currently. But it is a cereal that I eat. The Wishing Well says, God, I would never willingly work commission if I could help it. A previous job I did have commissions. Yeah, no, it is a soul-crushing thing because your income is so variable, and there's a time limit attached to it every time with these. In this case, a 15-day time limit. Now, what tends to happen, the way that a streamer survives in this particular economy, as fucked as the gig economy is they take these sponsorships every time they're available, and they ideally cycle through them until they don't have any anymore. And then they have a Patreon, and then they make a little bit of money off of YouTube, and then they make a little bit of money off of Twitch, and then they make a little bit of money off of merch, and then they make a little bit of money off of any other side gig they can get, like lending their voice acting to a video game or other projects. You know, if they are so lucky. It's literally the only way I've ever been able to survive as a streamer. $800 to $900 a month off of YouTube, $800 to $900 a month off of Twitch, and then $900 per... Right now, it's $900 per video that I put out on Patreon. I put out a maximum of 4 every month, and it's not really $900 per because a lot of people have their stuff set to, hey, I only pay out once a month. And that's perfectly reasonable. But then you cobble together all of the money from that, from all of those different baskets, and then you finally have something that looks kind of like a living wage. It's not, but it looks kind of like one. You still don't have your health care paid for. You still have to pay taxes on all of that, and you pay double taxes because you are a sole proprietor functionally. You have to pay your employer and your employee taxes as a creator. You have to go through all of that stuff. So you actually don't even see all of that money at all. So take a person who's in that environment where if they want to go full-time as a streamer, it looks like just such a dream to them. It's a dream I've been living for the last 6 years. I've been doing this full-time for 5 of the 6, 7 years now that I've been doing content creation. And I'm thankful for my entire audience, for everybody who's enabled me to have this job. Fritz says, never quit your day job. Luckily, in my case, I didn't quit. I got fired. I got fired for lack of empathy from Aldi. But regardless, take somebody who's in that environment, take somebody in this exact environment where the money is not guaranteed, and they have to do every little thing possible in order to scrape the most modicum of survivability. And remember, this is apparently what the top 0.01% of people on the platform have to do. And then you were handed what looks like a golden ticket from Raid Shadow Legends. And this golden ticket from Raid Shadow Legends, you will never hit this amount. It's set so that you cannot hit this amount at all. But you're going to feel like it's possible because it looks possible. It looks so achievable. And that's my biggest problem with it. I would prefer if any of these guys instead said, hey, we'll pay to get 12 or 20 viewers, and we'll pay you $600 or $700 for it. That would at least be better than this golden goose amulet chasing that this looks like. I saw that amount of money there, and I can guarantee you every single wheel in my brain spun with, oh my god, if I had that, that's 9,000 there, 24% tax bracket because of the double tax, so I'm cutting off a quarter of that. The leftovers pay for my credit. God, that would be a dream. But I know that that's impossible. I know that that's not going to be what happens. And it's not the fault of the chat. It's not the fault of every person in this stream who is watching me and supporting me right now. It's never the fault of the viewers. When the company that wants to, quote, sponsor your channel for 15 days is doing so in such a way that it is an uphill battle from the get-go for everyone involved. And now you have a group of people who are parasocially inclined. And this group of people also, thank you very much, Silent CDN, for the subscription. I appreciate that. And also, there was a super chat. I need to check that real quick. Jake, thank you for the $5 super chat. This is why adult content pays so well. You and Ryan need to get on that. There's a market for it. Jesus Christ. But then you get a content creator and an audience that wants to support the content creator very much, and then they start feeling like they failed their content creator for parasocial reasons. And then the content creator feels like they're a failure because they couldn't muster up whatever hype they needed for the faceless company that will never know they existed. And that's the reality of streaming. That's the reality of being on Twitch. That's how this job functions for the majority of Twitch streamers, and that's for those of us that actually get to do it as a job. This is not counting the thousands of people that do it wanting it to be a job and are wondering why they just can't make enough to make it happen. But that's just a giant-ass rant. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you haven't already. And as always, everyone, insert end of video tagline here. Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability a Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Blitzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Nixie-chan, the Oberon team, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.